Talk about World Youth Day. That was such a fantastic experience. And, you know, I remember when we were over there and interviewing some of the locals that were active in, in working for the event. One of the guys kept saying, I can't believe this is happening in Australia. The Pope coming in and the church coming alive. Did you have a similar experience as that?
Yeah, it was like that. Like, I mean, the city kind of turned into a completely new city. I can never really look at some of the same streets I did the way before. It was literally transformed into pretty much a World Youth Day playground. You had, because everything was so close in Sydney, you had all the main sites within walking distance from each other. You basically had hundreds of thousands of pilgrims all walking in between the streets, and for a week or so and a bit longer, it was World Youth Day Pilgrim Playground, and it was a really life-transforming experience for a lot of people who weren't even there for the event itself. Everyone could notice a distinct joy that was just piercing the Sydney scene. So it was quite an amazing experience.
I'd heard the crime rate dropped during the time period. I mean, same thing happened in Denver in 1993 when the Pope came there, John Paul II. The crime actually drops, when you've got all these pilgrims there and all these, people coming to see the Pope and kind of come together. Great shots on the screen here right now of that. But they said that in Australia that the crime actually dropped in this area and police didn't have any problems so much with the people.
Well, that's true actually. One funny experience which also happened was there was a story of one pilgrim who was walking back from an event late one night and walked around a corner into a side street, and there was this gang there. And they all started approaching him, and they said, get his bags, get his wallet and everything. And all of a sudden, one of them noticed that he was wearing a pilgrim pack, and they said, oh, wait a second, are you with that Catholic pilgrim thing? And he said, yes. And the guy said, give him back his stuff, leave him alone. And they all walked away. So that complements that story.
What was the biggest moment for you personally, the most moving moment?
Probably the most moving would probably be when I was standing in one of the main streets in Sydney, and it was the papal, the motorcade between the streets of the city, and it was just, I was in one of the main city areas, so I wasn't at the event site where he'd already had the papal arrival. I was right in the centre of the work area, and what I noticed was that everyone out there were all business people. They were all people in suits, all up in the offices. I looked up on the sides of the two buildings, and every single window had someone standing on the window looking out, and it was just this really surreal feeling, because you'd expect that it'd just be all pilgrims out there and everyone else in Sydney would kind of just go back to their normal life or not really take much notice, but everyone came out to see the Pope, and it was just this chilling experience of complete silence for almost like a few minutes when they could hear the sirens going off down around the corner, and then the Pope came around in his little Pope-mobile at about 60, 70 k's an hour, and all of a sudden, I just would have thought these business people would have gone to like polite applause, something like this. They all just went crazy. Everyone just loved it. Like they were overwhelmed. It was a really, I wasn't expecting it all, and just that coming through, because it was quite dim, and then the lights coming around, the Pope coming by and just blessing everyone as he went past. Like everyone was just amazed. It was a really cool experience.
I think the point you made before too. I thought I want to go back to that. I think that is the most powerful witness, the joy of the young people, because oftentimes our young people are struggling with so many things, and we go talk about it endlessly on this show, the problems with the culture and all that kind of stuff, and it can lead a young person to cynicism, to be depressed, to be unhappy, and all of a sudden you see this massive 250,000 young people who are celebrating in a joyful way, not a dissipated rock and roll drugs thing, but celebrating life. They have a fullness of life, and I saw it in